Hello everybody, my name's Atley. Welcome back to my SnowRunner hard mode playthrough. I am in the Don region. This is part 2 of the special expedition to go and capture a wild Tatra Force and claim it for myself. First episode I used the White Western Star extensively, and as I said in the episode and as has been confirmed for me by people in comments, I was trying to do it on the cheap. Now, in my defense, I really didn't think I would struggle as much as I did with this White Western Star. But I did struggle a lot. And ultimately, I don't think this truck is up for the thing I was trying to get it to do without significant support. So, without further ado, I am not doing it on the cheap for part 2. I've spent a little bit of money, and I am going to deploy 2 more vehicles to this map to address 2 specific problems. And one of them is the Vorongrad, which has been on Yukon duty, and I've driven it back to the garage, stuck some mud tires on it, back on it. It's the mud tires I had in stock for it, so I haven't bought mud tires, but I've stuck mud tires back on it, and the Vorongrad is coming to join me. So I am going to splurge the 3,500 to bring it here, and possibly 3,500 to take it back to Yukon. Not entirely sure whether I need it next in Yukon or the next region, but that is the grad on this map. It's a little bit beaten up, but it's only bodywork. There's a small amount of engine and suspension damage, but I can fix that. That's not a problem. I'm not paying 2,500 for bodywork repair. So that truck is here, but it's hardly got any fuel in it. So you're probably wondering, why on earth would you do that? But anyway, that is the second truck, because I thought I would get away with just bringing the little crocodile with a fuel bunker there. I thought that would be enough fuel for me, and it's blatantly not. So the grad is going to be the main workhorse of this episode, but in addition to the grad, I have also got another truck that I'm going to deploy. I have done a fuel trip to Michigan, and this is a bit of a splurge, but again, it's only 3,500 deployment fee, and at the end of this it's probably going back to Michigan, fill up again, and then go to Yukon. So it's kind of in line with what I was going to be doing. It doesn't need to leave the garage area, so I'm not going to mess with changing its tires. It's just that gives me 2,800 litres in the fuel tank to make this activity a bit more certain. So I'm going to do a little bit of round to fill these all up. Handbrake on, the engine off. So let's fill the grad up. Don't suppose I can reach. No, I can't reach the civilian. Once these are full, I'll park this up, and in future they can come to it rather than it going to them. So fill a crocodile up, fill a civilian up. 3 litres, fill myself up. And then down here, one of the things I did before starting the recording, again, to make life easier, partly, but also because this is more fuel than I hope to need on this map, I took the Tatra through, just into the nature reserve, and I grabbed this scout fuel carrier. Because I want to leave fuel on this map when I leave, mostly. So let's fill that up. And then I'm going to jump into the croc. The croc is going to use the scout fuel carrier to fill its own fuel add-on, and then it's going to go back in the garage and be done with it. And then this will be 900 litres that I will take to Yukon with me via this map. Makes sense in my head. I know what it is that I'm looking at doing. I'm using the fact that the A-Star was going to come here anyway to get an additional amount of fuel into the Crocodile that I will use for Yukon. So my fuel tank, fill it up. My main cab is basically full. And then this is going to go straight into the garage and be retained, and its next appearance will be Yukon as a fuel bunker, probably in flooded foothills. Let's just retain it, and I know that I'll have to pay. I might as well also retain the white Western Star because I don't expect to use it again on this map today. So I'm chewing through some money. I've spent about 20,000 today. That's without what I spent to get here in the first place. But I now have myself a position where I'm much more capable of doing what it is I need to do. The civilian is going to have to make its way to the resupply zone. Maybe I should bring that. Did I reach a pay star? No. Maybe I should bring the pay star in. It's not in my way when I'm trying to get in and out the garage. And I'll put some more fuel into that scout fuel carrier just so that anything driving by doesn't have to go into the garage to get it. And now I'm down to 871 in this Paystar extended fuel tank already. But bear in mind, I do intend leaving 900 in that scout fuel carrier when I leave this map. So we'll put this inside as our further fuel reserves. And before we retain it again and leave this map, we'll make sure that scout fuel carrier is empty. So when I come back to do the Don region properly, I will be leaving a full 900 litre tank here at the garage, which will be invaluable. And then now I can jump into the grad and go and do some work. Full fuel, decent repair status, not perfect but decent. And we're not doing it on the cheap. We're doing it properly, I hope. So we have to go over to the other side of this river and grab some metal beams for the river port contract, which is the second of the two contracts. I did Don's right hand in the last episode. Made a bit of a meal of it, but I did it. Got it in finished. This episode we got to do Riverport, and then once we've done Riverport, that will make the task that unlocks the Force available to us. And we'll have to complete that task, which includes delivering some more metal beams. And let's stick all-wheel drive on for safety. And repairing and refueling the Tatra Force. So I did a little bit of staging, a little bit of investment in bringing different machines here, just to make this less painful than the last episode, but also something that I can get done in a sensible episode length. The last one ended up as being nearly an hour and 50 minutes. And honestly, that was nearly 4 hours of footage. And it took me 7 hours to edit it down into what you got to see. And it was painful to drive, it was painful to edit, but it's out there. And now I just want to move on and get it done. I'm doing these one at a time. There are 2 lots of metal beams I've got to pick up. I'm not messing with trailers because I don't have a 2-slot trailer that's easily accessible. There is one on this map that I could go and get, but you got to rescue the trailer, and I'm not going to get involved in that. I'm just going to do 2 slots, but I've got enough fuel to do that now, and I think from a time perspective it's probably worth Just spending the time to do 2 slots rather than messing around with the complexities of a trailer full of steel. I'm coming this way because this is roughly the direction of the metal beams that I need to get to. Can I go over that? That looks like the sort of thing. So there's the metal beams. That terrain with all of that scrap metal on it looks like suspension deleting nonsense. So I think maybe I'll come around here. And actually we can just about get our first glimpse of the Tatra Force in amongst those rocks in my headlight beams. Green camouflage. It's so well camouflaged you might not be able to see it, right? But yeah, that's the Tatra Force. But we're not ready to come and get you yet. Get myself reasonably level, or at least if anything leaning away. Frame mode, legs down. Should have brought this truck in the first place, right? I know that. I know that, you know that. Restore the crane, pat the cargo. Engine off for a sec. That equipment trailer is for a task that I am going to do, and I've avoided doing this because this is really content I should be doing when I come to this map properly. But given that I've got to be over here a couple of times, I don't really want to fight my way over that water road. So basically I'm gonna fix this bridge, and that'll make the future trips much easier. So I am going to connect and bring that trailer with me. And then we'll do that task. It's a tiny little bit of what should be Don region main content, but I think it's worth doing it now. Get it attached properly and then get out of here. This scrapyard, there's lots of horrible bits of metal in here. I don't like the look of it at all. Attach the trailer. Oh, I keep forgetting. The Grad can't attach a trailer. It's not a Holy Trinity vehicle. Okay, I've got to get out of here hopefully without needing a winch. And I'll just drag it to its destination. I'm using the controller and I've got the HUD up just to give me a little bit of help and support. I know some people prefer the HUD visible anyway. At the moment I'm finding it easier to drive with the HUD just because it lets me see what the controls are while I'm still getting used to this controller. Wonder how many times I've forgotten and will continue to forget that this Grad can't do Holy Trinity. Trailer plus crane plus cargo bed, which is a bit weird because it looks like it should work. It's a bit of an artificial restriction based on the geometry of the truck. So dead ahead of me there, you can just about see the bridge that's out. I can't deliver this trailer to this side of the bridge. So I have to take the trailer to the other side, which is a bit mean. Brad is a joy to drive. I haven't used it as much as I should have. And when I have used it, it's quite often been in tandem with the Tatra Phoenix or something else. But the Grad is a lovely truck to drive. It's just so smooth. Let's fill me up before I disappear from here. And then get this trailer delivered so that future trips are much easier. There's just no point not doing it. It's because I was there right next to where the trailer is picked up anyway. Cutscene. There we go. Much easier. $2,400 towards the fund. And then now we need to go and deliver these metal beams to a power pole that is a little bit off in the wilderness and not entirely easy to get to from what I can see. Engine off. Handbrake on. Quick look at the map. So I haven't used the prototype exploration trailer because I haven't got a proper scout here, so I can't really see. But I do know that there's a bit of gnarly terrain about here. One of the reasons I didn't want to try and do this with a trailer on. And then I've got to come through, presumably here, and find my way up to that power line 2. I'm going to do that one first, because it's nearest to where I am. And then the other one, I kind of assume that it's best to come into it from the other side of the road. On the port side, maybe? Although that all looks pretty wet, so I'm not sure. So we'll see how it goes from this side to start with. And there's just, I know there's one very steep, very tippy bit of terrain that I have to worry about. I'm hoping I can negotiate it okay. Not tip myself and my cargo into the river. Yeah, so this bit is a really nasty camber. Coming across here can be quite dangerous. So again, I'm going to get myself a winch onto that titanium tree. Just give myself a safety line. Doing it too tight because I don't want it to force me to go the way I don't want to go. Allow me to slingshot a little bit. And then this is that is tire tracks. To be honest, I wouldn't have fancied doing this particular bit in the White Western Star. Up there, so I can see the broken power line. It's not far away, but it's up a rocky washout by the look of it. Can I get up there? Let's go past them. Go past them and get to the flat and see if I can get in the outside. There we go. Fire for camera jankiness. Pylons are always bad. Engine off, cargo management. One lot of metal beams done. No cutscene for it, but then it's only the first of 2. And that's the first half of Riverport. back down the way we came, back to the garage, or back to the bridge that we just repaired, to go over and get the next lot. Just checking the map to make sure there isn't an easier way. There's no route into the back of the garage. Yeah, I think it pretty much is what I just did. You should just about be able to see a bit of blue and red in the distance there. That is the Antarctic that we have to rescue when we come here properly. The one where I thought I was going to get it for free. Gutted. Yeah, that did the job. That's all I needed, just something to make it a bit more certainty that I can get through it. Probably would have been alright without cargo on. Right, I'm pretty sure I've got enough fuel to go and get the next lot of metal beams and get back to the garage, so I'm going to do that. I thought about dragging the civilian with me, but I don't think the route is too bad. I think there's a bit of gnarliness going on inside the warehouse we're about to go to, but that's a civilian problem for resupply rather than a me problem for metal beams. So I'm not going to go in convoy. I think it just makes it more complicated, but not enough benefit on this particular trip. But that was a lot easier to get back here compared to going over the little water bit. Bit of an icky little puddle. That's why I put the muds on though. This, I could have left the chains on, but this map is all wet, sticky stuff. Got a bit of a Fallout 4 vibe to it. Just, I know this game is all about areas that have been desolated by some kind of natural disaster. But this place, more than most of the maps, feels a lot more than natural disaster. This feels like a wasteland. Right, so I don't think in the last episode I came here. I came here with the Tatra before restarting the recording to hit the resupply zone. I don't think I came here on camera. Dead ahead of us is some concrete slabs, and they are horrible. You can hit those at 2 miles an hour and do 50 points of damage to your suspension. They've been coded to hurt. So I had a little drive around, and there's a route here that gets me to the metal beams without going through those blocks. So that's what I'm doing. And then that little bit looks like a vehicle testing yard. It looks quite fun. I think there's a contest related to it. Sure, it won't be fun by the time I've finished it. But yeah, you can just about see the resupply zone, and you can't get to it from this side because they've got these concrete curbs that, again, if you try to drive over them, wreck your suspension. Little crane, cargo, and get this one back over to the other power line. Now these are specific metal beams that are needed for this contract, and then I think the Riverport contract does unlock the ability to load metal beams from the port. Just like we fixed the power line, and once we fix the power line using the metal beams, that allows us to get cargo out of the port. Is it this way? Hang on a minute, I've lost my bearings. Yeah, it was this way, wasn't it? Yeah. So we're going to come back to this place with the civilian to get the repair points needed to fix the Tatra Force. But we're not on that step yet. That's a fuel station that you need to repair before you can use it. But it's too expensive for my taste anyway, which is why I brought the Paystar through. I think if I'd have repaired that fuel station, would have sold me fuel at $6 a litre, whereas I bought it in Michigan for $2 a litre. And that is worth the deployment costs. Saves you a hell of a lot of money. So now we're going to go via the garage and fuel up before going to do the delivery. And then a quick look at the map. For this delivery, I think rather than going down and worrying about that water, I think I will come this way to do that power line. I think that's the play. Quite a nice little village, this. This particular one looks alright. It's up high enough that it probably doesn't get as drowned as some of them that you come across in this game. That looks like a cafe bar with tables out the front. Is that mean cafe? I don't know. I don't read Russian. Looks like a cafe to me. I've just zigged when I should have zagged because I was looking at what I thought might have been a pub. Where am I in relation to where I wanted to be? I'm not. Slight detour. I saw a pub. I went on a pub crawl. I can't read any of these signs, but interesting little village. I thought that would join up. I didn't notice the rocks when I looked at the map. I am not going to loon it off that. Not even I'm mad enough to do that. Another wrong turn. Let's get back on track, please. Stop sightseeing. We've got work to do. It should have been a first right after I got into the village. This looks pretty rocky, mind. Little swing shovel. Tractor with a trailer. That's in my way slightly. Is that a cat? That swing shovel? Stump. It's not. Spotted it just in time to avoid putting my sump over it. Handbrake, engine off, cargo management. Any cutscene? No. 4,700. Riverport, done. Let's get out of here. And then down here is the port. And this is a bit I thought I might have driven up. And then thought better of it because it's a bit wet. So I think it probably is navigable. There's enough trees here, hopefully. Get out of this water. That's the hardest work part of it done, I think. There is a task now, and after getting the scout trailer, I strategically located the Tatra to unlock a task for me. So, handbrake on, engine off. We've now got access to unlimited bricks, unlimited metal beams, and unlimited cargo containers. And of course, I want metal beams on the loading platform. But before I pick them up, I'm going to jump into the Tatra because I should now have access to... There it is. I knew it was in this general area. Have access to the task. And the task is going to tell me you need metal beams. Accept and track it. And the reward of this task is the Tatra Force T815-7. So I'll leave that there for a minute. And start tracking it. So metal beams basically delivered to the workers' shack here near the Tatra. So I'll jump back into the grad and pick up those beams. Having used the White Western Stars crane, it really brings home how weak these blue cranes are. So the crane, cargo. I've left the blue trailer there. I've got the A&K Civilian out because I know I need its van body add-on capability. So I just leave the blue trailer here until we come here to do this region properly. So I'm going to use the village as a route rather than worrying about the rocks that have fallen over that road. I do think this is a much better drive. Once we deliver these metal beams, the task is going to then say repair and refuel the truck. Engine off, handbrake on, cargo management, metal beams, stage completed. So let's just remind myself what the task actually says now. You know, I saw this land rise and fall, but you give me hope again. There's an old truck out in the scrapyard. It got there by mistake. But you know what I think? I think it's fate that brought you to me. Like that truck's been waiting for you. Do me a favour and I'll hand you its keys. So we've just done them the favour of giving them the metal beams, and now they've given me the keys to the Tatra Force. And I have to repair and refuel it, and it needs 840 repair points, 8 wheels, and 380 fuel. So that is going to require more than one vehicle. I'm going to jump initially into the civilian, and then the civilian can now use the road to go and get, let me just check what its suspension state is in, which it would actually tell you. Right, I want it lower for a minute because I'm doing road work. I find this civilian really tippy, especially with this add-on on it. So I know it's a good truck, but 200 litre fuel tank plus the fact that it's quite tippy is why I've not really used it that much, other than for special expeditions. I used it to, I think the first time I used it was to go and get the Aramatsu Forester. Yeah, that 200 litre fuel tank is fairly fuel efficient. You know, it's doing 6 or 7 litres a minute consumption if I don't gun it too hard. Up to 19 litres there when it was going through some sticky stuff. Always on all-wheel drive, always on diff lock, so you haven't got an option to turn that off for fuel efficiency. They're all getting a pull out of this sticky hole. The more I drive through it, the more it's getting chewed up probably. And the repair point add-on on this van body is empty, so I have to go into the resupply zone, resupply it, and then drive down to the Force. It can hold 800 repair points plus 2 tyres. So it's not going to do this job on its own. Either it's 2 trips, but I need fuel anyway. So my plan is use this to do 800 points worth of repairs, and then drive the Tatra around. Because that'll have a combination of enough repair points to finish it, 2 extra wheels, plus put this into high mode now because we are going into a little bit of off-road area. Yeah, 2 extra wheels plus enough fuel to get out. And this time we've got no choice, we've got to go over the concrete depth slabs. The ones that some sadist put there specifically to hurt us. I haven't got any suspension damage at all at the minute. A little bit of engine damage. Let's see if I can manage to get across this. Honestly, I'm approaching this so slow because I've done this before. Can you get through there? Yeah, just knockos. What? I didn't notice that. I didn't notice. There's a whole nother side route. I've been deleting suspension on those slabs and then complaining about them. It just opened my eyes. That's perfectly safe. And tucked away behind this red container at the end is my resupply zone. Engine off. So let's repair all the damage. Oh, I can't repair anything yet. So resupply 1600 plus 6 wheels. Repair myself. Always good practice. So I only took 5 points of resupply points. Can't believe I've been driving over those slabs because I didn't look to the side and notice it. So there's a 5-slot wide semi-trailer there with 2 lots of wooden planks on it. Don't know what that's for. Whether that's mine or whether that's a task, I'm not sure. Got a pretty good turning circle, this thing, but that was obviously too much for it. Right, now we go down to the Tatra Force and put these 800 points in. I may as well, when I'm finished with this rescue, drive back up there and fill this van body add-on, because I think the van body add-on is the most useful thing that the civilian can do if I decide to do any more special expeditions. Brake on, engine off, repair. Right, so it needs another 40 repair points and another 2 wheels. I'm just putting this out of the way for a minute. I don't want to just leave it in the way, but I'm gonna, before I retain it, I will take it back to that resupply zone. I'll do that off camera. That's not part of the rescue, that's not part of the episode, that's just me garaging this thing again. I'll take it back and refill those resupply points. And think about where this might go next. I don't have any use for it in Yukon, I don't believe. But actually, I'm just going to park it here. Get on with the episode. So, next job is to bring the Tatra in. And there's no short way there. I've got to go over over the bridge. I'm going to fill up with fuel. I could take the scout fuel trailer with me, I suppose, but I think I've got enough fuel. 120 in my roof, 300 here. A little bit in the civilian if I needed it. Only 380, so that should be fine. For the type of vehicle it is and for the capability of it, this Tatra is not bad on fuel efficiency. So I'll just get back to the garage, fill myself up, then drive over and we will own a Tatra Force. Which I have to say is quite exciting to me. I will drive the Force back to the garage as part of this episode or expedition, but I'll deal with the recovery of my other vehicles off cam. Refuel. Yeah, let's go. And I don't intend at the moment taking the Tatra back to Yukon. I don't think there's anything there I need it for that I couldn't do just as easily or easier with the Ford Scout. So it might head off to another special expedition vehicle recovery. I had a really interesting comment today. Thank you very much, Steve, saying that before phase 8 I should get myself the Zix 605R from Amur, and also one that I hadn't even considered, because although people have mentioned it in the context of being quite a complicated delivery, I hadn't really considered whether it was a truck that was good enough to make a special effort for, or just wait until I get to the region and get it naturally. But the new Taiga in the main region, phase 6, I hadn't thought about it, but after it was mentioned in comments, I had a look at its capabilities, and it would fill a hole that I feel I have in my fleet that has caused me a little bit of seller's remorse in that when I got rid of the Royal BM 17, because I didn't like its lack of a diff lock. What I didn't really consider is that at the moment I don't have a good solid late game medium log truck. I know I can chuck it on the Azov, which is obviously a good truck for pretty much anything you attach to it, 73-210, but I'm usually using that for something else on the map. And that Taiga looks to me, the B, I don't remember the rest of the numbers for it, but the Taiga, not the Taiga that I'm already using, but the something B, can take a medium logging add-on, and it looks like a very capable vehicle. Not sure what else it's got that I don't have covered in the rest of my fleet. I'm sure it must have something, because why would it be mentioned as a vehicle worth getting? But it looks like basically a heavier version of the Taiga that we're familiar with. Handbrake on, engine off, repair points. Into the Force. Done. Fuel. This is exciting. Refuel. All of the roof rack. And a fair bit of the main tank. $4,900. Accept. That is now ours. I now need to get some of that fuel back. So that I can drive back to the garage. And then this is another one that I'll take to the resupply zone before I leave the map. So I'm not going to drive it back to the garage now, I'm just going to move it out of the way. Park it there. Where does that, just out of interest, where does that go? Another route up to the garage. Looks like it, doesn't it? Yeah. Fine, I'll leave that for now. And then we now own a Tatra Force. Tatra heavy truck. Tatra Force T815-7. So it's got an all-wheel drive fitted, but no diff lock. And it is fully repaired with hopefully enough fuel. And I've been playing with this truck on my campaign save, because you don't have to unlock it, you can just buy it. And on the campaign save it's easy because you just sell a truck to buy a truck. You never lose money when you buy and sell vehicles. So I have been using this truck to make sure I like it, and I've got to say I really like it. It's a little bit slow, but I haven't unlocked the advanced special gearbox on my campaign save. because I haven't done hardly anything in Alaska. Whereas I believe on this save, I've unlocked everything that this vehicle could want. So we'll get it back to the garage and we'll find out. And this is definitely going to Yukon, because I intend using this for the large trailer high saddle deliveries. And it has that wonderful, wonderful ability of Holy Trinity. Crane plus 2-slot cargo, plus it can tow trailers. So it can pull 6 slots of cargo. And it's pretty fuel efficient considering. For the size of vehicle and the fact that it's got a 380 litre tank, and it has a roof rack add-on that carries more fuel. This is a very, very, very capable work truck. It's just a bit slow. And at the moment doesn't have a diff lock. And it's not physically as big as the Kolobs, right? So it's a heavy truck. Looks like it's 6-wheel drive, but no diff. Oh, so it's 8-wheel drive, but no diff lock. So that's why the front tire isn't turning. But this is the only nasty bit we got to get through. And there's enough winch points that I'm not worried. And what I'll do before the return to Yukon is I'll resupply the civilian and Tatra in, bring them both back to the garage, put as much fuel as I can in them, make sure that scout fuel trailer is full and left at the garage full, and then all of the fuel that's in the Paystar I'll distribute between the vehicles, and then the Paystar will go back to Michigan. Refill and then head to Canada. I'm just going to fill this one's tank up out of the Paystar. I'm going to be paying to repair this anyway because of the bodywork damage. I'm just going to line this up so I can refill and then get in the garage without any more fuel consumption than I need to. Fuel. Fill me up. Good. Let's go. Get in the garage. Right, so this is so exciting. It's 5,000 to repair because it's a heavy, so it costs more. Done though. So I'm at $81,000, and I think I was about 110 before I started this whole expedition. So even though, you know, I've done it on the cheap in the last episode, but I spent a bit more this time. But even so, if that was in the shop for 30 grand, you'd buy it, right? I now need to look at where my engines are. I don't want to buy that for 24 until I know where, because I know I've had one of those rescued. It's probably in the Azov, and if it is, I'll leave it in the Azov. Advanced Specialist unlocked. Don't know that I like the multi-purpose. Minor increase in fuel efficiency. I don't know that I like it. Whereas this gives you more gears. But again, I'm going to see where that's located. That's not the main point. The main point is, so I am definitely putting chains on it. I need to get an advanced heavy. Again, I'm going to review some of my vehicles, and if there's anything I'm not using in a way that it needs that, I'm not going to spend money on things that I don't need. Engageable. I haven't unlocked this diff lock yet. Where is it then? Yeah. I know what I've done there. I'm not leaving the map without that. There's probably people looking at the map as I'm panning around saying, well, you haven't been up here. I'm doing that because I'm not leaving. That's part of this episode. There's no real choice for that. Won't take long. Famous last words, eh? Content creator's curse. So the Tiger B that I was talking about just now, before I got to the Force, there's a hell of a lot of work to unlock that. And it looks to me like that's worse than the Zix to unlock. You got to do at least one. You got to do a couple of pretty significant deliveries, including logging. So yeah, I don't know. Right, this time I do need to go back up through the water. It's a bit further up. I know where this is because I unlocked it in my campaign. A little bit of wading, which isn't my favourite thing to do in a Tatra, but should be okay. There's these little islands, and if you're careful, you can negotiate them. But as we established last episode, careful is not my middle name. Probably the dodgiest bit for the Tatra, maybe. Engine off, handbrake on. Get the upgrade. Engageable. And it only fits the Force. Done. Let's at least get myself back on dry land. So the air intake for this is the rear of a truck. So as long as you keep your rear out of the water, it's not too bad. Brake, engine off. That is probably going to make a pretty good screenshot there, isn't it? I'll worry about that separately. So back to the garage. Carry on where I left off. Customize. So diff lock, engageable fit, and sell the normal. Front facing snorkel. Yeah, is a little bit higher. Sell the normal. Frame add-ons. This is where it gets interesting. So it can take the loading crane. I'm not going to buy one because it's the same one that's currently on the Phoenix, and I will only own one of them. Trunk, supplies, definitely worth 2,700. I'll have to refuel it, but that's definitely worth it. And then the sideboard bed, I've got one already, but it can take all of that with the loading crane. So you can have the loading crane, 2 slots, and repair points on the roof plus fuel. And as you can see, the tow hitch at the back is flush enough that you can put trailers on. That's wonderful. Front side. Don't care about visors, never do. Rooftop. I don't want the one that takes off. So this bar adds extra lights. Always worth having more lights. The rear fenders, these are the ones over the wheel. And I think they come off anyway, so I think I'll uninstall and sell them. Because they're the ones over the second axle. I don't need them, and I think they disappear anyway when you put the crane on. Front bumper. So the stock one is fairly flush. 45-degree angle from the front of the tyres. The rest of them all not too bad. Pipe welded. Pipe welded looks pretty good. Got a little bit of a square bit sticking out the front though. More lights on that one. I don't think it changes the attack angle much, which is the most important thing. I think I might like that reinforced one. I think the reinforced one. And then don't care about horns. I don't have a. If they change the sound of the vehicle, I would. Exhaust. So the stock exhaust comes out the side. No, stock exhaust is kind of middle, but pointing left. Whereas that one is a bit more out the left. So I think I'll put that on. Keep the smoke out of my eyes. Rims. Free anyway. I'll stick to the wheel nut ones. And then colour scheme. So what's interesting about this is when you change the colour scheme, it changes the pickup body. And I quite like it in red and white. And it will change the crane as well when the crane is installed. So that is my new truck. It's dark outside, so it's hardly worth deploying it, but let's do it anyway. And I've got to do winches and engine on it, but if you'll indulge me, I am going to go into photo mode and change it to morning. It's quite nice, warm light, isn't it? Camera, and we'll get a screenshot. This will be the thumbnail, and then everybody will know that I actually succeeded, which will be a nice for part 2. Get the photograph, and that is going to be a wrap for this episode. I'm really pleased with that, and it's also a length of episode that I'll be able to edit it down to my normal length, I hope. So I'm going to leave this episode here. Special Expedition, Tatra Force, Claim, Part 2. I hope you enjoyed the episode. I hope you managed to stick with the previous one and this one. Nearly 3 hours of video all to combined by the time you've watched the last one and this one, so thank you very much for that. Hopefully I'll see you back in Yukon. In the meantime, thanks and goodbye.